Welcome back, Super Brain. How's your memory? It's super, and what we're going to do today is we're going to prove that to you. So yesterday, we introduced the phonetic number system. That was a system where we took the 10 digits and assigned specific sounds to the numbers so that way we could turn them into pictures that are very memorable and not abstract. So in this lesson, we're going to do the application. How do we use this ancient code in modern day times to remember the things that we need to remember when it comes to numbers? When we're talking about PIN codes, dates, anniversary, birth dates, phone numbers, financials, and so much more. So before we go into the application, some of the examples of how to use this in everyday life, let's go over and do a quick review over the sounds that these digits make. And that was your homework assignment yesterday. It was really to study this code, because once you have this code, it's like a Rosetta Stone, a translation device that allows you to be able to look at numbers, and all of a sudden these numbers have more meaning to you. They have pictures, they're stories and sentences. So let's begin. What was the sound of the number 1? The sound for the number 1 was t, d, and th. The T, the D, and the TH. Good. Now don't look at your notes, do this with me. Number 2, what's the sound? It's the N sound, na. Remember we went through these mnemonic devices, 2 downstrokes. The number 3 is what? 3M, the 3M Corporation. What about number 4? F-O-U-R, or remember 4 looks like a golfer, you yell out the word 4. That's the R sound, that's 4. Now what was number 5? Do you remember 5? Number 5 fingers, and it makes the letter what? L. 5 is L. Also in Roman numeral, the L is what? It's 50. Good. Now we're halfway there. 6 are the soft sounds. So you have the 6 looks like a G and a J. Also the SH and the CH. Good. The 7, what's the 7? Those are the hard sounds. What do you think of? K, right? K made up of 2 7s. What about the C? And then obviously the G, G, like granite, hard G. What about the 8? Do you remember the 8? What was the sound of the 8? It's a famous vegetable juice, V8. V8, also the F. The F and the V, and number 9. What's the mirror image of a 9? It looks like a P. Turn it upside down, it looks like a lowercase b. P and B, peanut butter, number 9. And finally, the 0. The 0 you remember because you spell 0 with a what? A Z. It's also the S and the soft C. If you like, you could pause the video and just write it out if you like. Now, there were some exceptions here and some other rules. So the vowels have no value. Silent letters have no value. The letters W, H, and Y have no value. Double letters equals single value. So if you have 2 of the same letters together, it only counts as 1. Now, let's use some examples here. Why would you want to create sounds and numbers? Let's say, for example, you're looking at a word like table. Table, T-A-B-L-E. What number would that be equal to? The T is the what? Let's do this together. The T is what number? T is the number 1, good. The A is what? It's a vowel, so it has no value, good. The B is what? The B is, do you remember what the B is? The B is the number 9, good. And the L is what? The number 5, good. And the E is what? It's a vowel, so it has no value. So a table is equal to the number 195. Good. Let's take a word like cat. Cat. What number would cat be? The C is the what? It's not 0 because it's a hard C. It's what? 7, good. And the T is what again? The T is 1, 71. Very good. Let's do a couple more examples. What about the word carpet? Carpet. What could that be? What number is carpet? The C is 7. The A in carpet, nothing, no value. The R, 4, good. The P is 9, good. And the E, no value. And the T, 1. So carpet equals what? 7, 4, 9, 1. One more example. Let's take the word butter. I want you to take a moment and just write down the number. What do you believe butter is? What number is butter? 9, 914. Good, 914. Now if you said 9114, remember double letters, like the double letter T, only counts one. So it's 914. So these are little mental exercises we're doing, and they build our brain power. Do you feel yourself thinking about it? And so you're exercising your brain. Now, why would you ever want to take a word and turn it into a number? Does it make it easier to remember? No, of course, it makes it more difficult, right? Turning it into a number makes it more abstract, harder to remember. So you'll never want to do that. But does it help to go the opposite way, where you could take a number and actually take the sounds there and turn them into words and pictures? Of course, because it becomes more tangible. You never necessarily want to take the word table and turn it into number 195, but you might want to remember the number 195, because that could be a PIN number, that could be your hotel room, that could be a locker number, and so on. Let's say there's a phone number, though, that actually goes 914-195-7491. Let's say that's a phone number, right? So all you have to do is turn those into pictures, and what are the pictures? We already did that, right? What's 914? Butter. What's 195? Table. And what's 7491? Carpet. And so all you have to do to remember a phone number is you have three pictures here, and you go back to do what we did in the past, and you make a quick story out of it, or what we call a chain link. Okay, let's go through another example besides phone numbers. Let's say you're at the ATM machine, and you're there, and you have brain fog, something's going on, you feel a little bit absent-minded, you're there, and you're like, what was my PIN number again, right? And the problem is when you forget that, you have nowhere to go. You have nowhere to go because you can't think of what that number is. But if you created a picture, you take a 4-digit number and you turn it into a picture. So for example, maybe for that the code is 7491, which spells what? 7 is what? K. The 4 is what? R. The 9 is what? P. And the 1 is what? T. C-R-P-T. What word does it spell? Carpet, right? And so you can imagine going to the ATM machine, and all of a sudden when you're going there, a red carpet rolls out for you, waiting for you, and then you have your image there. So if you forget what your PIN number is, all of a sudden you have the carpet here and you have somewhere to be able to go. Let's do a couple of more examples here. Let's take the number 71. I want you to be able to come up with the word 71. What could a word be for 71? Take a moment and do that now. 71. Okay, let's do this together a little bit. What could 71 be? 7 is the K sound or the G sound. 1 is the T sound or the D sound or the TH sound. What could it be? Cat, right? C-A-T. What else could it be? It could also be coat, C-O-A-T. Because remember, the vowels don't have any value. You can just add vowels there. C-O-A-T, coat. What else could it be? 7 is also a G sound, a hard G. It could be what? Get, got, goat. What else? It could be goad, toad. It could be God. So here's the thing. Which one do you want to use to be able to remember 71? Which is the easiest thing to picture for you? What would be more difficult? Maybe the word got is more difficult to picture, to make a picture of. What would be something easy to remember? Cat, right? So 71 could be cat. And probably dozens of different photos. You want to pick the one that's best for you. Let's take the number 72. I want you to just translate 72 into a picture. What can 72 be? Just write down a few examples. Okay, what do you have? Can, right? 7 is K or G. The 2 is what? N. Can. Cone, like an ice cream cone. Gone, G-O-N-E. Gin. Now would gin work? It wouldn't, right? Because it's a soft G. You have to use a hard G. So what else would work here? Gun, G-U-N. Goon, G-O-O-N. Good. Cane, C-A-N-E. All of these examples could work for 72. So you want to pick up one that works for you the best. You see how this works? So we're beginning to take 2-digit numbers and turn them all into pictures. And so what we're going to do is, let's say you needed to memorize something like dates. You need to remember certain dates, anniversaries, birth dates. When did man land on the moon? What was that date? Neil Armstrong, when did Neil Armstrong land on the moon? July 1969, right? What was the day? July 20th. July 20th, 1969. So if you wanted to memorize this, what would that look like? So 720, 69. How would you memorize that? 720. What's 720? 7 is, we just did 72. It was can. So the 0 is what? So that's cans. 720, cans. And 69. 6 is the what sound? Sh. And what's the 9 sound? Pa. Cans ship. So imagine this, Neil Armstrong, a really strong arm going to the moon on a ship and drops off all these what? Cans. Do you see how that works? Really simple. And so you're like, Jim, I could just memorize, 720, 1969. You could do that through rote. The challenge is if you have a lot of numbers, it gets very difficult. Remember, these are a means to an end. Once you have the information, 720, 69, then the pictures disappear. It's just a way to encode it so you can store it, so you can get it out and retrieve it. So Superbrain, are you beginning to see the potential what this is? Where you can look at numbers and all of a sudden these numbers have a whole new life to them because they create pictures, and pictures are so much more memorable than these abstract numbers. So this is going to be your homework, and this is really big. This technique has so many applications. What I want you to do is start with the number 1. Start with the number 1 and let's build a brand new list. And this list is not limited to just a list of 10 or even 20. You could go 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 and more. So let's give some more examples. I want you now to take the phonetic number system and for the numbers 1 through 100, come up with a new image using this system. So for example, number 1 is the sound of what? T. So number 1 could be tie. Number 2 is the n sound, n sound. So what could 2 be? Some people could say Noah, like a person named Noah, or maybe Noah's Ark, right? N-O has no value, A has no value, H has no value. What about number 3? 3 is the what sound? M sound. So I want you to think 3 is ma, like a mother. Number 4 is the what sound? R sound. R is going to remind you of, what word can that be? You get at any vowel or the letters W, H, and Y. Let's take the word rye. R-Y-E, like rye bread is number 4. Good. Number 5 is the what sound? 5 is the L sound. And so that's going to be law, like maybe a judge, maybe a police officer. That's number 5. Do you see what we could do here? For example, 6 is the what sound? Sh, S-H-O-U, shoe. Maybe 6 is shoe. What about 7? 7 is the k sound. Maybe 7 is key, K-E-Y. Just picture keys. Whenever you need to remember the number 7 is key. 8. 8 is what? F or V. You could think of Faye, like maybe you know somebody named Faye. For me, I use Ivy, I-V-Y. The I has no value, the Y is worth the 8. And the Y has no value. I-V-Y is the number 8. 9, for me, I use a B, because 9 is the P or the B sound. I just think of a bumblebee. And number 10, 1, 0. So 1 is the T sound, and 0 is the S sound, toes. You have 10 toes again. Now this is where it gets interesting, because you could go all the way. For example, what's 28 is knife. 2 is the N, 8 is the F, knife. What is 33? M-M, mummy. What's 47? R-K, rock. 47. What about 49? R-P, rope. Let's say 51. 5 is what? L. 1 is what? T. Light. Good. What about 60? 6 is the ch sound, C-H. And then 0 is the S sound. So you have cheese, right? If you want to do 71, we talked about 71, we use cat, 72 is can. So if you want to do a number like 80, 8 is fa, and the 0 is sa, face, that works out really well. What about 97? 9 is the B sound, 7 is the K sound, book, 97 is book. Do you see that? So your homework assignment is this. Come up with words to as many as you can to 100. As many of the words you could come up with for the numbers 1 through 100 and see how well that you do. And this could be an ongoing homework until you fill in all of the numbers. And here's the thing, you know the potential of this system. The hardest challenge here for most people is coming up and remembering the code. And so in tomorrow's implementation system, I'm going to show you another way. We use some mnemonic devices before, saying like, oh, 5 is kind of like the L sound because 5 fingers creates the L. Tomorrow in the implementation session, I'm going to teach you a 2-minute way to learn all these sounds. So make sure you join us for that. Until then, make sure you go into the community, share with the tribe your big ahas, maybe share your word pictures for the numbers 1 through 100 as you build that out. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow.